Welcome back to Real Talk TV, everyone. All right, so I got what should I say? A request from one of our subscribers, Honest Soul. He or she, I'm not sure, was asking about how I actually tie some of the lures. So this video is going to be about tying the lures, how I tie them, the different connections I make, and the differences in how I use cable and monofilament. And just to put this out there, yes, I do prefer monofilament most of the time. I use wire and cable when I'm fishing for wahoo or anywhere that barracuda might be, or anything with teeth. But for the most part, for my bonita lures, I do have some with wire, and I have some mostly with monofilament, because most of the time I'm finding them way out on the deep versus being on the shallow, on the bank, where you might have a lot more toothy critters like wahoo, barracuda, kingfish. So I try to use them. I find that when you use monofilament, less chances of the lures jumping and crinking, and the wood wire can bend sometimes and can break off. You can run if you need to, and the monofilament will be fine. So I prefer mono, and I also find that it's a little harder for the fish to see. So sometimes when they're not really biting, they're a little finicky. Sometimes they'll grab onto the lures that have the monofilament leader versus the ones that have the wire. So it's just my preference in terms of when I use it, not necessarily what I use all the time. But for the most part, mono is less visible in the water, so a lot of the times you might trigger a strike faster with it. But the downside is, if it's something with teeth like a wahoo, you may lose the lure, you may lose everything. So, it's kind of a gamble. Anyway, let's get into it. All right, so let me start with the monofilament. I have a 125-pound monofilament here. This is what I had used in the previous videos for the bonita feathers. I'm going to start by showing you how I can just easily tie it or crimp it. So what a subscriber had mentioned to me in the comments of the bonita lures or the tuna lures video is that they noticed I like monofilament. Yes, I do like monofilament for the tunas. I do use cable and wire for other applications though. So I also have 275 cable right here. Some fishermen might prefer a larger cable, but I think this is more than adequate. I haven't had any failures with this on any level with any size billfish so far, or any toothy pelagics like barracuda or wahoo or kingfish, any of them. I have not had any cutoffs with this. So some people might use 480, some people might go as far as 900. Whatever you want to use, it's up to you. But this is my preferred breaking strength, 275. I think it has a sleeker look, and its appearance in the water, for the most part, is a little better than the thicker cable. Yeah, so let's start with the mono. So for days that you don't have crimps, right? This is a crimp. I have them in different sizes here. Some for the cable and some for the wire. Some for the cable and some for the mono. So I'm gonna show you how I would just tie this hook. There's two ways that I can tie this hook. If I'm just gonna put it under a bonita lure, a bonita feather, I'll just do a regular fisherman's knot, right? Now normally with a smaller line, if you're using smaller pound tests like 50 or 30 or 20 or anything like that, which you probably won't use on a leader, but maybe if you're just doing snapper fishing, off the dock or off the rocks, or even on the boat, in shallow reef fishing, you normally would just loop it through like this, and you wrap it around itself about 6 times. But because this is a thicker line, you don't need to wrap it as much for it to cinch tight and not come out. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can just push through here and pull through. Some people like to finish off the knot by putting this back through here, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it the simple way. And once you start pulling tight like this, put up the pressure on it, there you go. Perfect fisherman's knot. The line doesn't cut into itself, and you're good to go. You just clip off this little tag end, and then this goes up straight up under the lure perfectly. Right? Now, okay, so if I was to do like my marlin lures, how I rig them under my marlin lures, I would do a snell. I would actually snell the hook. So to snell the hook, of course, there's different ways of doing it, but this is how I learned it. This is how I do it. So you have the hook in your hand like this, and you have the hook shank here. Put one piece here, and then you get the other end, and you put it this way, just like this, right? So you have this tag end sticking out, and then this piece, you just start from the top and you wrap downwards. So you do it as many times as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can go 10 times if you want. And then you just pull this through. So try to hold it together while you're doing it. I'm just gonna use this to grip it properly. So this is what snelling a hook looks like, right? You can adjust it how you want it, and no matter how much you pull on this, it's just gonna get tighter. It just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, right? So that's how you snell the hook. Some persons, especially if you're rigging circle hooks or anything, they might do this snell as well. Some people like to run this line through here. That's totally up to you. I am fine with keeping it on the outside. I think it works just great like this. Right? Alright, moving right along. Alright, one more tie on the hook. There's two more ways that you can do this. Now, you can just use a crimp. Slide your crimp on, put it through the hook, come back down. I like to make it as neat as possible, right? So I put that tag end right to the end of the crimp so I don't have to cut it off. It doesn't get caught on your hand or stick anything or get caught anywhere. And then, because it's a smaller crimp, you select the right size on your crimp tool. Go in, squeeze down, and there you go. This is not moving, right? And this works just fine. Sometimes I'll do this on the tuna lures, but if I'm gonna do it on a bigger lure, I'll do a Flemish loop. I'm gonna show you how to do the Flemish loop now. So the Flemish loop, right, when doing it on the hook, well, you're gonna have to, you go through one time, and then you make a loop like this, right? You go through one more time, come back through the eye, you make one more loop like this, right? And then you bring it down. So you're actually wrapping it 2 times. So this is almost like giving you double strength on the abrasion resistance from the hook to the line. The crimp goes on the other end. I'm gonna actually have to use 2 crimps to show you this one. Alright. So bring it right down as far as I can. You notice the hook is swinging. And then what I'll do is this one right here, in the middle, crimp it down. That's one. Now you have this tag end here, right? Sometimes it looks a little ugly. I'm going to cut it down to the length that I want it, and I'm going to actually double crimp it. Like I said, guys, this is what I use for the bigger lures, the stuff that I know I'm going to be going after billfish with, where I want that extra strength, or when I'm going after wahoo. What I'll do is I'll bring this down and I'll actually twist this so that it's straight and neat. Okay. So twist, crimp it down, straight, neat crimp, perfect, good to go. If you want to use the crimp as a stop as well, you can actually make the tag line longer. You make it stop, and it can stop the distance you want under the lure, how far you want the hook to hang down. But this is 100%. This ain't going nowhere. All right. Okay. All right. Now that I'm done with the hook, I'm going to show you how I would make the tag end that goes to, well, not the tag end, the loop end that you would connect your swivel from your rod to when you want to change out a lure. So, simplest way, crimp, loop, just like that. Make it as big or as small as you want. I think the more refined the better, right? And then voila, crimp it down, not move it, right? And this is one, a matter of preference, or two, sometimes you don't have crimp so you have to tie. But I can also do the Flemish loop, which I'd shown you on the hook a while ago. Cut this off. Get 2 crimps. Alright. But this time, when I make this loop, I'm going to go through 3 times. Alright. One more time. 3. Okay. Then I'm going to pull this down as far down as I can, still making it look as neat as possible. A little more chafe resistance and abrasion resistance. Put your crimp, slide your crimp up. Right on in the middle. Because these are small crimps, guys, I'm just doing 1 crimp on it. If it was one of the longer, bigger crimps, I'd probably do a double crimp. But again, here, I go all the way to the edge so that you don't have any tag end sticking out there, nothing. So when you lead in the fish or lifting the fish, get stuck in your gloves or stick in your hand or anything like that. And always twist it like this so that it stays even. Right? And there you go. I can actually bring this down. We don't crimp right to the edge, or we try not to. Right? Try not to crimp right to the edge because you don't want that crimp cut in the monofilament. And there you go. This you just clip on your snap spool here. This would go to the hook or the lure, and it would have the hook set underneath already. Right? So you'd put on your hook, slide this through the lure, and then you do this end if you're gonna do the crimping method. So there you go, that's the Flemish loop. Right. Oh, this is how I tie a loop, which is actually my preferred method with monofilament. So there's quite a number of ways to do it. I have no idea what this tie is called. It was taught to me by a fisherman a long time ago. He actually passed away. But to me, it's the most refined and one of the strongest knots you can do to make a loop if you want to you know, put on the end of your lure quickly. So it's as simple as this. So you go like this, make it down as small as you can, like an X crossing the two lines there. You have to hold it or else it's gonna come apart. Flip this way, like this, and then this, you're gonna go around one time like that. Then this loop, you push it back through here, and then you lock it in itself. Oh, let me put this here just to show you. You tighten it, and that ain't going nowhere. This little loop here will hold a 500-pound marlin. I use this on all my marlin lures and all of my bonita lures most of the time. The more you pull on this knot is the tighter it gets, and it doesn't cut into itself, so it makes it perfect. I did it a little rough for my liking here. Normally I would cinch it down a little bit more, but trying to do it here on my own without any help. Normally I'd pull on this little tag end and tighten it down more, but so that's how I tie my loop connection. So you connect your swivel here, that's from your rod, and then you run out the lure from there. And no matter what, like I tell you, I do this with the 300-pound mono on my marlin lures. I've never had one come loose, never lost a fish to a knot failure, ever. And caught anything from 500 pounds to 80 pounds on a blue marlin. Never come apart yet. All right, so let me try to clear up this area here. Now let's go to the cable. So when you're working with the cable, you always have to make sure you have a clean cut on the end, or else it's gonna be very difficult to get it through these crimps. All right, so I had shown you the Flemish loop earlier. I do that exact same thing with this cable. I always use a Flemish loop when I'm doing cable. So I slide on 2 of these crimps, just like this. Through here. 1, 2. So remember, anytime you're doing it on the hook, you do it 2 times. When you're doing it to your loop for your swivel connection, you do it 3 times. So through here. And guys, I don't just use this to tie hooks or to connect hooks with the cable. If I have like the Yozuris and the nomads that I used to troll for Wahoo, those hard baits with the lips or anything, this is the same connection I use on them. So I'll come down again, come to the right one, there you go. Squeeze that nice and tight. And then on this end here, say you want to make it long enough, say maybe you have a lure that you're gonna rig ballyhoo under and you just want a little more space down under the lure, or maybe the lure is long and you're rigging it with a single hook. I do this again, and remember that little spin method once I slide it in. Now cable tends to fray and burr, so you don't want to leave anything out here sticking out. So I always try and bury it down in it, because that is very painful. If it gets stuck in your finger, it will go through gloves, trust me. So give it that little twist so it's nice and straight. Clip it down, and this is not moving, solid as a rock. Right? Oh, there's 2 ways you can do the other end. You can do the Flemish loop like I did on this side, or that I showed you with the mono before, or you can just do a loop. Right? Now, I prefer the Flemish loop because most of the time I don't have chafe gear, anti-chafe, anything that is there to put on it. And normally when you put anti-chafe, you have to check it more regularly because sometimes it will salt water get inside of it, and no matter how you wash it, you can't get it out, so you'll have a break there eventually. So like I said, I use a Flemish loop like this on this end at all times. But if you want to, you can just put one single loop. It will hold. Like one single loop like this will hold. Don't get me wrong. One single loop like that. You crimp it down and you're good to go. It's not coming out, I guarantee you. But my preference is to do the Flemish loop. That's it. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching again, and thanks for the idea. I'll see how fast I can get another fishing video out. Don't have any invites yet, but hopefully soon. So I'll see you on the next video. Oh yeah, and please hit that like and subscribe if you like this content. Also try and share with any of your friends that likes this kind of stuff, wants to know anything about fishing. I'll be more than happy to share anything or any questions you have.